We appreciate you watching and listening to The Dead Jeff Show. Please like and subscribe and tune in for more videos. It's a great day to be alive on The Dead Jeff Show. I'm Jeff, he's Nick, and I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving and enjoyed time with your family and friends. And man, boy, did I enjoy the Cowboys winning. That was a nice way to have a mid halftime break on Thanksgiving, is watching the Cowboys win and have a 3-game win streak. Nick, how was your Thanksgiving?
Man, so I get the Cowboys winning on Thursday. I get Thanksgiving at my mother-in-law's house. Phenomenal food. She's a great cook.
Mm-hmm.
Then on Friday, I get another Thanksgiving at my mom's house. I get to watch all the Cowboys feed, fallout and the post-game stuff. I get a Spurs win in there. I get a Texas Longhorn win. I mean, look, man, what more can you ask for? Do a little shopping online. Don't have to deal with the lines anymore. So
Yeah.
I had a phenomenal little Thursday, Friday set there.
Nice. Nice. Hopefully you got all the food you wanted and you didn't shame anybody who didn't eat turkey. Hopefully that there was no shame in anybody's food game, right? So and that you got all the food that you wanted. We had a fantastic time here. We had everybody under one roof for the first time in a long time, and we really enjoyed that. We did have some turkey here. I didn't eat it, but we had it here. I had some ham and some mashed potatoes and some green beans and some macaroni, and I think Maestro might have a picture of my plate. He'll throw it up right now if you have that, Maestro. But for me, it was a great day, and then we loved watching the Cowboys win. We loved the Detroit and Green Bay game was good, and then
Uh-huh.
Joe Burrow clobbered the Ravens later that night. So
Yeah.
we talked about possibly getting the help on Friday on the Black Friday game with the Eagles and Bears, and who knows, maybe that'll work out in our favor. But really, Cowboys got to beat the Lions for anything to matter anyway. So we'll get into that in a little bit. So listen, I did our movie tradition. We kept that alive on Thanksgiving. We went and saw Zootopia 2,
Okay.
and it was very, very funny. I gotta be honest with you. There's so many little cameos and inside jokes from other Disney things that you'll
Yeah.
you'll probably really really enjoy it. But we had a great time going to the movie. And then I got to tell you this. And listen, they're not paying me to say this. This is not a sponsorship. We also went to my friends, two of my friends, their brothers. It's Danny and David Allen, opened up a place called Push Start Play locally here in Dallas in Louisville. And it's an arcade full of classic games. You can get adult beverages if you want. They've got pizza, wings, they got some food there, but it's pinball as far as the eye can see. It's all the classic games you could think of. If you want to do Guitar Hero, if you want to do dance, whatever the dance games are, it's all the cool new things as well as all of the old classic things. And I got to tell you, I was really impressed with this place. It's called Push Start Play in Louisville. And shout out to David DA is what we call David. D.A. Allen and Danny Allen. What a great place. The atmosphere was awesome, and it was packed on Saturday. There was people in there. And so if you get a chance, I would recommend you guys going to Push Start Play in Louisville. And they're not even paying me to say this. Maybe I need to get them to sponsor the show a little bit because I
Yeah.
just really was impressed with them. And I know they're already expanding the location already. So anyway, it was a fun weekend. But shout out to Da and Danny. Man, I really love those guys, and they're great people, and I'm happy for them. I hope they wish them all the success with that place. But speaking of success, the Cowboys beat the Chiefs 31-28. And what was my prediction, Nick? What did I say the score would be in this game?
Yeah, I completely forgot when you text me, my prediction. As soon as I saw the prediction, I was like, oh my God, he nailed it. That's pretty cool. So yeah, he nailed it right on the head.
Well, to be fair, I said 31-27, so I wasn't exact. I wasn't like Nate Burleson on the
Yeah, yeah.
CBS today. He got it
Yeah.
perfectly right, but I was close. I was close enough that I'm going to take it because the game kind of played out the way I hoped it would with my heart. And I'll be honest with you, Dak looked great. CD returned to form, and shut up all you haters talking about CD with stone hands and all this other stuff. He was true to form, and Pickens played amazing. That one play where he leaped, that it was just phenomenal. But Mahomes played well too. Let's be honest, guys. I know they were
Mhm.
out without their two tackles,
Yep.
but what a great game for the Cowboys on Thursday, and it was a great way to keep this playoff hope alive. So, give me your thoughts, just real quick. Takeaways from the Cowboy game, the win over the Chiefs.
Yeah, I think I was surprised. You said it went the way you thought it would go in your heart. I was surprised with how this, just like the Eagles game, things happened in this game where um this is not a normal Cowboys type game. The Cowboys go up 10 with a little under 6 minutes to go, and the thing that went into my mind um was the Cowboys are going to lose this game. I just
In the third
had that
quarter?
feeling. In the fourth quarter, they go up 10.
Fourth quarter. Okay.
Yeah. So it's 31-21. There's 5:50 something to go when Mahomes
Mhm.
gets the ball back. Before he even took a snap, I thought the Cowboys are going to lose this game because it's what Aaron Rodgers did to us for so long. It's what the elite quarterbacks have always done to the Cowboys, even when they had good defenses. And I'm not saying this defense is as bad as it had been. It certainly looks improved, but it's not the elite defense that we've had here where these elite quarterbacks have done this to us. And so 31-21, I'm thinking Dallas is going to lose this game. Mahomes puts that drive together, has that unreal third down play, and that just I'm literally just dreading the feeling of knowing we're going to lose this game. Um, so just like in the Eagles game, man, I thought early would be a blowout. I was shocked at the outcome. I was shocked at this outcome, even being up 10. And I think a lot of it speaks to Dak Prescott and Coach Shoddy, man. It feels. I hate that they're doing this to me. It just feels a little different.
They're
Yeah,
sucking you back in, man. They're pulling you back
yeah,
in.
they really
Now,
are, man.
the play you're talking about is the one where Quentin Williams, we thought had him. He gets
Dead
out
to
of
rights.
the shoestring tackle, right? The
Yep.
shoestring tackle. But the next when he leaped over somebody else's arm, I don't know how he saw that and then fired that ball down the field. That was impressive. I wasn't concerned at that point, but I tell you when I was concerned. When we're driving and Dak throws an absolute dime to Ferguson in the back of the end zone and he
Mm,
doesn't get his feet down. Initially it's
yeah.
called a touchdown. They review it and it's not a touchdown and we have to settle for a field goal and we went up 20-14. That's when a little doubt started creeping in my mind, right? It's like, here we go. That was a chance for the old Cowboys to show up right there to go, oh, we can't get it done. And a matter of fact, Kansas City drives down and gets a touchdown to take
Mm-hmm.
the lead 21-20. But the game started off with Dak throwing an interception, right? And
Yeah.
so we thought that was a point where old Cowboys might have folded or it might have led to more and more things going wrong, right? But they bounced back nicely from that and took a lead going into halftime. But that third quarter, when he threw it to Ferguson and it's called back because he didn't get his feet down, and he didn't catch it.
Uh-huh.
Um, and they had to settle for that field goal made me nervous. And when they took the lead, I was concerned. But then the way Dak has been, the way the Cowboys have been resilient this year, they drive down and get a touchdown to retake the lead. And not only do they, and I think that was the one to Javante, right? The little Dak scrambling
Yeah.
and
Yep.
he throws it to him. Was that the one that? Let me see. Let's verify here. I don't want to be wrong.
Are you
It's
talking
a
about the,
touch.
the final touchdown?
Yeah. No,
That was the final touchdown.
this was a touchdown pass to, yeah. Hold on a second. Yes, Javante Williams. Sorry about that. So that was the one that made it 28, and then they got
Right.
the 2 point play to Pickens, which was a beautiful catch by Pickens in the corner. But that little Javante touchdown was nice on Dak because he had to create enough separation where the defensive guy would step to him and opened up Javante and just flung it over there. But all in all, there was a couple times when you think, "Oh no, here we go, Cowboys of old,"
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't show up. And like you said, that is a testament to Schottenheimer and Dak, but also the leaders we have on defense now with Quinnen and Kenny, and you got Diggs chomping at the bit to come back and play now because he sees
Right.
he sees the turnaround here. So
Yeah.
so it was yeah, again, it was impressive that they got the win, and the way they got it, having to battle back and and overcome things.
Yeah,
So
man.
with that,
It's
go
really
ahead.
awesome. Yeah, it's such a different vibe. And not just from the on the field stuff. Like, I mean, that goes without saying.
Yep.
But I love watching the post game stuff, and Dak's walking in with the turkey leg, and you got Ferguson, has got the whole turkey in his hand, and he's literally just letting guys take bites off of it. Like,
No, he's
these
got
dudes
his
look like
hand in the turkey.
that's what
He
I'm
put
saying.
his
He's got the
yeah
whole turkey on his
yeah
hand, and he's literally like giving
yeah
his hand to guys to take bites off the whole. Like, they look like they're
yeah.
just having an absolute
Yeah.
blast, man. And how much it's the thing that you can never account for. It's the chemistry, it's the camaraderie, it's
Yeah.
the intangible thing that it certainly looks like this team has totally bought in, and they just look like they are having the most fun in the world.
Yeah, I agree. I think the most awkward thing with the turkey leg was Jerry at his press conference just holding it up, like just holding the turkey
Yeah.
leg up. You're like, Jerry, what are you doing with that? I mean,
Yeah.
obviously it's not sanitary for them guys to be biting off the turkey, with Ferguson's hand, in it. But you're right. There's that kind of playfulness. That's that kind of camaraderie that we haven't really seen. Maybe this team actually is starting to gel, right? And we're
Yeah.
seeing Schottenheimer change the culture, and it's really kind of coming together. But him in that press conference holding that turkey leg was funny. And there's one other thing I thought was hilarious, like really, really funny. And that's Andy Reid's press conference when he's talking about the officiating.
So good.
The Chiefs, Andy Reid and the Chiefs are
Yeah.
complaining about the officiating. And the Kansas City fans, come on, guys. You guys have benefited from one-sided officiating for the last 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
I think it's rich that all of a sudden now the league, who has penalized Cowboys, have been one of the most penalized teams for years, and they had
Right.
7 penalties in this game too. It wasn't like they
Hmm.
were scot-free here. But
Right.
now you think the league wants the Cowboys to win, so they're 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 coming after the Chiefs, the cash cow. It's just
Yeah.
ridiculous. I think that Andy Reid, that was a bad look for him. I would not have mentioned that, and I thought it was funny listening to that commentary about the officiating.
Yeah, it's so tone deaf, right? It's tantamount to the millionaire billionaire complaining about how much money they have to spend on these little arbitrary things. It's the team with all the riches complaining about the nickel and dime charges. Um, it's very tone deaf. But as a Cowboys fan, and really just as an NFL fan, that very much feels like the Chiefs gets the benefit of the doubt. I loved it. I love listening to it. I love the comment section on any video I saw of these Chiefs fan just blowing up the refs. So as much as it's rich and it's so ironic, yeah, I love it so much. It makes me so happy.
Well, and to be fair, there were a couple questionable calls that
Sure.
usually go the Chiefs' way, and maybe that's
Yep.
what Andy Reid is frustrated by because he didn't get the ones that were benefit of the doubt calls. But
Hmm.
most of those calls were right. There was nothing that was egregious in my mind.
Yeah.
Now, could they have not have called a few? Yes, but it's I don't know that totally swung the game in our favor. But they had chances to win the game after that, and I just think it's rich coming from the Chiefs fans, which is supposed to be the new America's team, over the Cowboys. I think it's rich that we're still a heavily penalized team, and then all of a sudden they think that the fix is in for us to win. And this is what happens with Cowboys
Yeah.
haters, man. I want to say this now. I was going to save this for later, but these Cowboys haters, oh, it's just the Raiders. Oh, it's the Eagles who are struggling. Oh, the Chiefs are struggling. They can't ever give us credit for doing something good, right? It's always the Cowboys. This, oh, they got lucky, or this didn't. It's never can be, man, that was impressive. You've never heard a Cowboys hater say that actually was impressive, right? And so that was a little frustrating for me. But let me ask you this: the next day, all the hype started, and it's got me a little worried. Do you believe the hype? The media is falling in love with these Dallas Cowboys. Now everybody's saying, "Oh, this is different. This looks different. This feels different." Are they still an accident waiting to happen, as Stephen A says? Or is this a real turnaround here, Nick?
I think it's a real turnaround. And more than that, I don't want any loss to mean that the wheels fell off. Like, I think that's the biggest thing to me that's different is, Stephen A kind of, it's just a matter of time. Yeah, it's so difficult, as everyone knows, it's so difficult to win a championship. It's so difficult to make a deep run. They've put themselves in a bad spot, right? The reality of the situation is they played very poorly for, 10 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever it was. And they have a huge hole to climb out of. They may not make the playoffs. I still firmly believe they will, but they may not. All of that to say, though, is if the season doesn't go the way they would hope that it does, I'm not going to necessarily look at this as, oh, it's the same old Cowboys. If they go out and they play a phenomenal game and Matt Stafford or someone in the first round of the playoffs just makes one more play than the Cowboys did, that's okay. I'm not going to look at that as like, oh, same old Cowboys. Like, I think there's a path here where all of this can be true. They can be set up very nicely going forward, some offseason questions, but this not be a failure or be like the same old Cowboys.
Yeah, I agree. As far as the hype coming from the media, and you saw videos of Mike Greenberg cheering that the Cowboys are winning and all this stuff. It's interesting because I think it does have a different feel. It doesn't feel like it's the same old Cowboys, and it
Uh-huh.
doesn't. It feels like we are excellent on offense. So if they have a bad game, that's the anomaly. But now
Right.
our defense is rising and stepping up, and each week getting better and better. And so that's making it more interesting. But let's be clear here. I still don't think they're going to make the playoffs. But this is giving us something to cheer about.
Right.
They have to win against the Lions this Thursday. They absolutely have to win. If they don't
Mm-hmm.
win that game, it's for all intents and purposes over.
Right.
And now we're just trying to see how much better draft pick we can get. No, we're
Uh-huh.
we're going to still compete because the last 4 games are winnable, right? And
Yep.
and maybe something happens. Maybe all these teams start falling. You saw with today's actions, because we're recording this on Sunday, is that and the games that happen on Thursday, there's people that are ready to fall back to us. We just have to be there to take advantage of it. But it starts with the win over the Lions on Thursday.
Yep.
But I don't think they're an accident waiting to happen. But I also don't think they're a contender yet. We beat the Lions this week. Then let's start talking about what kind of contender they can be. But I don't feel like I agree with you about I don't feel like this is the same old Cowboys.
Uh-huh.
But it's only one thing can go wrong for anybody. Like they could lose the quarterback and then we're in trouble, right? And we don't wish that on anybody. And but for me, I am sort of believe in the hype and getting that hope fix from the Cowboys. And I like the fact that we were 3-5-1 thinking the season's dead, and now we set 6-5-1 when everyone said this 3-game stretch coming up, if we go 2 out of 3, that's a success. Well, we've already gotten 2. Imagine if we get the third one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 100%. I hear you. I don't. It's hard for me to argue any points that you made, especially because if you look at the schedules, you know that you need help in order to get to the playoffs. Essentially, if you win out and everybody else wins out, you don't get in. I mean, that's kind of the simplest way of kind of saying it. Um, so I understand what you mean when you say that. At the same time, I think some of these other team schedules make it to where it's very unlikely that everyone's winning out, and I think you'll have a chance. Now, I do think that means you can only lose one more game if you're Dallas. That's the position they've put themselves in. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the Dallas Cowboys have the opportunity to do that this year, but they've set themselves up nicely depending on what happens in the offseason, who they decide to keep, who they decide to not resign, all that sort of stuff, that you've got a really, really positive future here, at least in the next, 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, I agree. I think here's the problem with the Cowboys making the playoffs. If you lose one more game, then the Eagles have to lose three more games
Right.
for you to win the division,
Yeah.
right? And looking at their schedule, is it possible? Yes. Plausible? No. It's really far fetched, right?
Right.
So, do we think the Cowboys can win the next 5 games? They can,
Yeah.
but this is the NFL, and things happen. And the Lions and the Chargers are the two biggest risk factors for us to lose a game.
Mhm.
If we win out, the Eagles still have to lose two more games for us to win the division.
Right.
Now, could they do that? Yes, they look like they're falling apart. Is it likely? Probably not, because their schedule is pretty easy. They have two tough games. I think they play the Bills. Who else? Do you have their schedule
So,
pulled up?
yeah, you've got Chargers coming up, which we just found out that Justin Herbert, is having
Yeah,
surgery on his non-throwing hand, so we'll see if he misses time or not.
could miss
But
time.
they could miss time. They have the Chargers on Monday night, they have the Raiders, and then this is where it gets interesting. They go at Washington, at Buffalo, home Washington. If Jaden Daniels is back, those are 3 very losable games. I think common sense would kinda tell you this is at worst 3-2, probably more
Yeah,
like 4-1. Um, for them to go 2-3 in this 5-game stretch would be that they have just imploded, and I
and
think
if
Nick
they
Sirianni gets fired probably.
yeah, but if they go 3-2, we have to win out to win the
That's right.
division, right?
That's right.
And so, just like you're saying, the Commanders could beat them, they could also beat us because we play we play them.
Yeah.
So, I guess I get it. But none of it matters if we lose to the Lions
Right.
on Thursday.
That's right.
So when we talk about believing the hype, we can the fact that we're actually talking about the Cowboys possibly making the playoffs from where
Right.
we started this season is
Yeah.
a win. And so I like what I'm seeing, I like what I'm feeling, but honestly, keeping it real, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I think it too much has to happen. I don't think the 49ers are going to come back, although they have a little bit of a tough schedule the last 3 games. I think the Bears had the best chance of coming back to us, but they beat the Eagles on Friday.
Mhm.
So now it's I don't know. It's everything's up in the air, and some of these teams play each other, so it's impossible for all of them to lose, right? So it's
Right. Right.
so that's what we're dealing with here. But as far as believing the hype, I think that the media is better. It's better for the media if the Cowboys are good.
Oh,
And I
100%.
and I think that's what we're seeing. They're happy about it again because now the Cowboys are relevant again. So now that they can get ratings, and who say what you want, you can hate me all you want. Cowboys stories equals ratings. Cowboys games. Did we get the numbers for the Thanksgiving Day game? How many
Oh, you know
viewers
what?
they had?
Yeah, I'll pull it right now. I haven't seen it yet, but let's see. But just real quick on that point, Greenberg said, Mike Greenberg on Get Up said something that I thought was so accurate after the Cardinals loss. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, but the Cowboys are just a bad team. If they had any other uniform on, we wouldn't even be talking about them,
That's right.
let alone leading the show. And that's when they were losing. So now that
Hmm.
they're winning, I mean, there's like 4 segments, within a 90-minute stretch on the Cowboys. So
Did you see how fast Jeff Saturday changed his tune? From,
100%.
oh, it's just the Raiders. Wow, this defense is impressive. They beat the Eagles.
Right.
And then now double wow, right? What is he going to say now? And I get it. That's what he gets paid to do, is to react. And I'm with him though. The Raiders game was but then the Eagles and now the Chiefs, that's been impressive. And we'll get into that a little bit later as far as our topic here, but I think that I'm buying in to the fact that this feels different, but I don't believe we'll make the playoffs this year, but I'm very excited about what next year has a potential of being. More excited than I've been in a while for a Cowboys team, if it all stays together. What did you say? Did we get the viewers? How many?
Yeah, yeah, I got it. 24.2 million viewers. It is the most watched game since week 15 of the 2015 season. were the undefeated Panthers against the undefeated Giants. So it's the most watched game in the last 10 years.
24 million. I thought it was going to break a record here. That doesn't sound like a record. I thought we were going to get like 40 million or something. 24 million seems low, to be honest with you. I don't know. What's the Super Bowl get?
That's a great question. Probably, well, I don't know if we can compare this to the Super Bowl, but we can find out real quick.
Well, we'll let Maestro look at what the Super Bowl viewership was while we go into our next topic. And here it is. Do you feel like with the performance he outdueled Mahomes? Do you think Dak is now back in the MVP race?
Wow, that's kind of a loaded question, right? So yes, he definitely outdueled Mahomes. I think objectively that's true. I don't. Anyone that would argue otherwise, I would be really curious what the argument is. Um, Encapsulated perfectly by that Javonte Williams touchdown. Felt like Dak willed the team to a win. Is he back in the MVP conversation? I'm gonna say no, only because I think it's with 5 losses, even if they win out with 5 losses and a tie, and I don't know what the number is, but I would imagine that would be like the worst record for an MVP like ever. Like MVP is, as much as an individual award, it skews so much toward the best player on the best team is kind of what it's become. So yes, I think he outdueled Mahomes. I saw some great stats on the last 3 years that it was kind of the silhouette of the quarterbacks and they just put the numbers up, and quarterback B was significantly better than quarterback A in every measurable statistic for the last 3 seasons, and quarterback B was Dak and quarterback A was Mahomes. Um, uh, you know, kind of says a lot for big game playing and playing for wins and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, I do think Dak outplayed Mahomes, but I do not think that he's in the MVP conversation.
Well, not in the conversation is different than, well, I guess it's the same question. But to me, you look at, you say if they have 5 losses, how is he going to win it? Well, the number 1 seed only has 3 losses already. So I don't know that there's a big enough separation in the NFC, right? The AFC, the number 1 seed has 2 losses already. So it's not like dramatic unless, if we win out. So I think that, yes, he's playing like an MVP, but so is Matt Stafford, who had a rough day today. They lost to the Panthers, and he threw 2 bad picks, just to be honest with you. But he hadn't thrown a pick in
Yep.
a long time. So Stafford, I think, is
Uh-huh.
still ahead of Dak. I think you could say Jonathan Taylor, but they've dropped from the 1 seed to the 5th seed today by losing to the Texans.
Yeah.
Their Jaguars are now in first place in that division. So to me, I think it's going to be hard for him to win the MVP, but I think he's in the discussion. I think he's got to be in discussion because, quite frankly, there's not that many people. Him, Stafford, Jonathan Taylor, Drake May. Who else are you putting in that discussion?
Um, Probably that's probably it. I think that's probably the list. I think for me personally, I think Jackson Smith and Jigba probably has to be up there in front of Dak. If I'm just
Oh
thinking
yeah.
about the guys simply that I would put in
One
front of
second,
Dak.
Nick.
Um,
1 second, Nick. What's that?
The Colts 6 now. They're not 5.
Oh, Colts are a 6 seed now
Only because the Chargers won.
because the Chargers won. Yeah. Well, and I'm not aware. I was not aware that the Chargers. Well, are you sure they passed them though?
Yeah, because they just played after the Colts played
Okay,
earlier.
so
So
now the Colts will be
it's adjusted.
the 6th seed.
wow,
Okay.
man, those losses really hurt, don't
So
they?
from 1 to 6. Um.
Gosh,
So actually, they were 2, weren't they? They weren't 1. The Patriots were the 1 seed, right?
the Patriots would have been
Yeah.
one. Yeah, that's
So they
right.
went from 2 to 6.
Yeah.
No, I'm lying again because they were 3. I'm all over. I messed this up bad. They were 3. They were the 3rd seed, and they've dropped to 6. My bad. They were never they weren't 1. They Patriots and Broncos were ahead of them.
Gotcha.
What about the Super Bowl viewership? Did we get that? How many millions of people watched the Super Bowl?
127.
127 million.
On average,
Yeah.
it's 127.
So 24 million sounds really low for the Thanksgiving Day game. We sure
but the
that's right?
highest,
The highest was
the highest
and it was Cowboys Giants.
watched regular season games though very
The
rarely
highest
go above.
the highest regular season game ever was 42 million, Luke says.
Yeah, but like on average, they very rarely go above 22, 23 million.
I still question that number. You're going to have to show me hard data there.
Yeah.
That seems low. All
Yeah.
right, so I think he's in the race, but I don't know that he's going to win it. You say he's not in the race.
No.
I think you'd be hard pressed to put 2 or 3 people ahead of him right now, but we got to get the wins. We got to get the wins for him to get the award. I think he got robbed 2 years ago. I think he should have been the MVP, but he didn't get
Uh-huh.
it that year.
2022 was 42 million. Cowboys Giants.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay,
like I said, I think
Cowboys Giants in 2022 had 42 million viewers on Thanksgiving.
right.
So we barely got half that with the
Yeah.
Chiefs and the Cowboys. Is that because Taylor Swift wasn't there? You think she could have boosted the ratings? The Cowboys didn't provide security for her, so maybe it could have been another 6 million. We could have got to 30 million, maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
But I tell you this, I tell you who I do believe the hype on, and who's the MVP to me, and that's Post Malone.
Yeah. Oh man, what a great halftime show.
Yeah, I was impressed by that. Now I would have been more impressed if he had pop up guests like Eminem, like Jack White had
Yeah.
Eminem.
Yeah.
Post Malone didn't. It was just Post Malone. So you like
Yeah,
the
I think that
halftime
says.
performance?
Yeah, I think that says more about what Jack White needs than as opposed to what Post Malone isn't giving us. I think Jack White almost needed Eminem there. It wasn't a bad set. I liked it, but obviously Eminem just takes it to another level.
Well,
But
my daughter, my family asked me, "Who's Jack White?" And I thought, "What do you mean?" I mean, because one of our favorite movies is School of Rock, and the White
yeah,
Stripes is mentioned in that movie, but they really didn't know who Jack White was, and so I had to tell them. But go ahead, I interrupted you.
no, my family did the exact same thing, and I said it's White Stripes, and they were like, What are the White Stripes?" And I was like, "You're joking me," and so I literally had to play Seven Nation Army, and the
Yeah,
first two beats, like, oh, come on, guys,
yeah.
what are we doing here? Um, But yeah, I think I think Jack White definitely needed Eminem, and I think Post Malone didn't need anybody. It was a great set. I didn't know the very first song that he played. I guess the country song. I hadn't heard that one, but I actually kind of liked it. It sounded good. Went and listened to it afterwards.
Yeah,
It's
Morgan
pretty.
Wallen is on that song, and people thought Morgan was going to be there, but he wasn't.
Yeah, no, I'm sure I've heard it. I'm not a big country guy, but I really liked it.
So
I
you
went and
like
listened to it.
country Post Malone or rap Post Malone? Which one do you like the best?
Definitely rap Post Malone and
Yeah.
probably the earlier stuff. I mean, some of his later stuff is good. It's not bad, but his early stuff, man, was really really great.
Man, I like both, to be honest with you. I like country Post and I like rap Post. But he grew up on country music. He grew up here in locally in Grapevine. But anyway, that's enough Post Malone talk.
Uh-huh.
But I was positive on that. So back to the last couple wins. All right. Are the last 2 wins? Do they have more to do with the struggles of the Eagles and Chiefs, or more about the Cowboys improving? What do you say?
I think it's more about the Cowboys improving, and I say that because you can't just say part of this game look really really good for these teams, and they're not capable of winning, or they look so bad, and then when they ultimately lose the game, it's because these are bad teams and the Cowboys are benefiting from that. Like, you can't have it both ways. The Eagles are up 21-0. The Chiefs had every opportunity, early interception, everything could have gone wrong very quickly for Dallas. And even late, the Chiefs take a late lead. But I say late, within reason. 21-20. So I've heard this. I've heard, like you mentioned earlier, some of the Cowboys haters, it's the Eagles don't look right and the Chiefs don't look right, and they looked fine when they were going up 21-0. The Chiefs look fine taking the lead back 21-20. Don't then make it be about the Cowboys can't play. That to me, it's ridiculous. I think Dallas earned both of those wins, and I think the Eagles and Chiefs are still the defending Super Bowl champions. I'm sorry, the defending Super Bowl teams. that have had very little major roster turnover. These are still largely intact. The teams that won the AFC and NFC respectively last year.
Yeah, I think I don't. If you look at the Chiefs, they dominated one score games last year.
Mm-hmm.
They won all of them, all the close games. This year they're like 1-6,
6 now. Yep.
1-6 in one score games.
Yep.
So I don't think the Chiefs forgot how to win. I think that those kinds of things catch up to you. Remember the Commanders last year? They won a lot of close one score games, and everybody was on the Commanders bandwagon, right? And then this year, it's not been the same. Of course, the quarterback's been hurt, and a few other receivers have been hurt. Lots of things. This is the NFL. It changes, right?
Yeah.
But for me, I don't think the Chiefs have dropped off so much. It's just the things aren't going their way. They've dealt with some injuries, but these one score games aren't bouncing in their favor. But that being said, we have watched the Cowboys improve. The stats are there to back it up.
100%.
I think that when you're talking about Cowboy haters and the narrative out there, and they don't want to give us credit for anything, and that's fine. But in this situation, I can't argue that it's only the struggles of the Eagles and Chiefs. I do have to acknowledge that there are struggles with the Eagles and Chiefs, but I think this has to do with the resiliency of the Cowboys, the new culture that Schottenheimer has instilled, the rallying around Marshawn Nealon for the intangible thing.
Yep.
They seem to really the effort has increased. There's not we don't have a lot of busted coverages like we did the first few weeks.
Right.
And so I think that we have improved dramatically on defense. The offense has been fine all year. So I would say it also has to do with more about the Cowboys improving, because most people didn't give us a chance in both of these games.
Right.
Just a couple weeks ago, the Cowboys being in the playoff discussion was laughable. Literally, people laughing at that. These delusional Cowboy fans. Well, now that we've won 3 games in a row, and 2 of them were against the Super Bowl participants last year, it's raised some eyebrows. So you got 2 choices. You can accept the fact that we're getting better and we may have something to say about this before the year's over, or you can ignore it and continue to be emotional about it.
Yeah, I think those people that don't give the credit now, Cowboys could win out, and it's going to be the cupcake schedule. Herbert's hurt. The excuses write themselves. The Lions don't look right. It all writes itself. But I think ultimately, and we've said this many times before, you can only play the teams that are in front of you. Obviously you don't get to change the schedule. If Dallas goes and takes care of what they're supposed to take care of, I think everything you just said, they're much improved. I'm going to continue to eat crow for the Quinnen Williams, Logan Wilson trade deadline. Defense is not going to be any better. This defense is dramatically improved in a very short period of time. And so we'll see. But I think ultimately, Dallas, for all the crap that Dallas gets when it's not going well, you as a sports fan, try and be fair to the idea that, hey, this team has just gotten better.
Yeah, and again, I expected it to be better on defense, but not this dramatically better.
Right.
And I think that has a lot to say with the play of Deron Bland, Revel stepping up. A safety is still a little bit of a problem. Logan Wilson has helped at the linebacker and Overshown. Man, what a difference maker, right? I still think we're seeing a little bit too much of Murray on the field, but but we can't get it all done this year. And like I said earlier, Diggs now is begging. He was ready to go. He wants to play because he sees the change, right? And so we'll see what happens there. So the question about the defense, the thing we're most fearful of is that Eberflus stays on, right? Do you think that Quinnen Williams, Demo are on Eberflus's Christmas list this year? Is he going to buy them a gift for saving his job?
He better get him something real nice. I'm not sure what these guys are into, but at least some Rolexes. We may not have to go car, but we need to get some nice watches at least. 'Cause, I read something where
Is that
the kind of
legal
the
for coaches to buy players gifts? Is
that's
that
a
legal? I
fence
don't know.
probably not, I guess, right? I guess it
Salary cap
probably
hit.
isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. I read something where the halftime of the Eagles game where it was like, who said what at halftime, that it was actually Quinnen Williams
Hmm.
was the one that kinda stepped up and said something and spoke up, to the defensive unit, and Dak overheard it, and the offensive guys kinda migrated over to listening to Quinnen. I think that just says so much about him. I was listening to Rich Eisen just because Rich Eisen's a Jets fan, and he was just devastated that they let him get away because he was the heart and soul of that team. And
Mm.
I heard that after hearing what Quinnen had done at the halftime of the Eagles game. So, yeah, I hope Eberflus definitely gets those boys something really nice for Christmas, um, because I think you're exactly right. I think barring some sort of colossal failure, and knock on wood, they don't get any injuries. I don't think this defense is capable of taking a step back as long as everyone stays healthy, just because of the makeup of the team now, because of the rotations that they're able to put on the defensive line. Those guys look fresh very regularly. Um, Deron Bland continues to keep getting better and better. Revel looks good. And then if Trayvon comes back and is anything close, and I'm a huge Trayvon Diggs fan, I always have been. If he's even close to what he was, 70% of what he was, that's a pretty good third cornerback to have
Yeah.
on your defense.
And you got Kalen Carson, who didn't mention, who's
Right.
also a DB on the rise, and
Yeah.
he keeps battling injuries. But yeah, it's fortunate and unfortunate, right? You got to put down your fire Eberflus signs,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
only chance that if you still don't like Eberflus and you want him gone is that him and Schottenheimer don't get along, which I don't think is the case at all.
No.
So I think that Eberflus is here to stay, and he should really be thankful and grateful to GM Jerry who
Yeah.
made the trade,
Yeah.
and to the injured defensive players that are coming back, because I think they absolutely have saved his job. And to be fair, whether it was at Schottenheimer's urging or Eberflus has decided to do it on his own, he has made some adjustments to his game plan,
Right.
and he's adapted to a little bit of the personnel changes, but he's increased his talent and he's adapted his scheme, and we're seeing the fruit from that. So I think kudos to him for changing and not having such a giant ego where he thinks it's his way only. And if that's the case, then can I get on board with not firing him? Yeah, as long as they continue to perform, right? I think you have to. You got to give that man his due, and we do that on this show. We wanted to fire him. He deserved to be fired,
Mhm.
but now he's winning us over with the performance of his team and the changes and the adaptations he's making to the scheme.
Yeah, for sure. And I think if, like you said, if that's shoddy kind of imposing his will on, hey, we've only got two ways this thing can go. Either you cannot be here or we've got to get adapting really quickly. Whatever the reason is, it's kind of irrelevant. We're never going to know. The fact of the matter is it does look different. Even if statistically it's not better, it is. It looks and feels different. It looks and feels different on the field. This is a team, I've said it before, they were giving up 52% of third down conversions through the trade deadline, before the week before the trade deadline. That would have been the second worst mark in 50 years. Since the trade deadline, against the Raiders, they are what they are, but then the Raiders and I'm sorry, the Eagles and Chiefs, who had very respectable third down conversion rates, the Cowboys are giving up like 35% on third down since the trade deadline. That is a dramatic increase to be able to get off the
Mm.
field on third down. So I agree. I was definitely carrying the flag for fire Eberflus. I still don't love that they're going to keep him. I think just what happened in Chicago. I think it just kind of sticks with you a little bit. But he certainly doesn't deserve to go. They're playing better. They look better. It looks and feels different.
Yeah, and again with the tackles that we have, the edge rushers are coming along. Ezraku we've talked about, but we
Hmm.
got Sam Williams making plays. You got Fowler showing up, and so it's kind of all coming together a little bit. And I'm excited about what that means mainly for next year, because again I
Hmm.
don't think they're making the playoffs. I think it's going to be the Arizona game is probably what keeps them out. Unfortunately, losing to them
Yep.
at home is just unacceptable. But that's probably what's going to keep you out of the playoffs. Bears look like a good team, and early on we thought that was a bad loss. Panthers look like a good team, and that we thought
Uh-huh.
that was a bad loss. But the Arizona one is inexcusable.
Yeah.
So question: do you think we talked about Dak being in the MVP race? Do you think Schottenheimer is in for Coach of the Year?
I think for a lot of the same reasons, I'm going to say no. Unless the Patriots just fall off a cliff, Vrabel's basically got that thing locked up. And I'd have to look at the Patriots schedule to see what kind of games they've got left. But I think, even if they get to 13-4, which seems pretty realistic, I just don't know how and this is a coach with pedigree. Vrabel's been a good coach in other places. So, I think I can see Shotty finishing like third or fourth in the voting. I don't know how he gets past Vrabel or McVay. Um, maybe even Canales. So that would be my sense. I think he's probably top 3, maybe top 5, and Coach of the Year voting. I don't see how he wins it over Vrabel at the very least.
I don't think Canales is in the discussion, but I think Schottenheimer would win over him. But I do agree with Vrabel. I think he is one of the top candidates, and Ben Johnson, depending on where the Bears finish, could be in the discussion.
Yeah.
McVay and the Rams are there too, but I think that's kind of an expected thing. So I'm not sure he will get the votes that he deserves.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, Schottenheimer has a good chance because what the expectation and where this team was early on to turn it around and to be a driving force for that change, I think he has to be in the discussion. And right now, Vrabel is the only guy I would put clearly ahead of him, but we don't know how it's going to turn out. We don't know what fall may be awaiting the Patriots. I've never liked the Patriots, but I've always liked Mike Vrabel. That's kind of weird, but I have.
Yeah.
But to me, I think it's and you can't leave out what the Seahawks are doing, and the coach there. I forget his name. It's Mike McDonald. Mike.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Is he a Doobie Brother? No.
Mike
What's his
McDonald's
name?
right. Mike McDonald's right.
Okay. All right. And so, I would put those guys in the discussion with Schottenheimer, but
Yeah.
he's certainly a great candidate because think about this: when people heard that they hired Brian Schottenheimer, it was like, what?
I was one of them.
What in
I
the
was
world?
one of them.
Oh, I can't believe this. And only a few people were championing. Oh no, he's great. He's going to be this and good and blah blah blah. And he's been way better than expected. So maybe because he had low expectations, that vaults him up in the vote. But I believe in Schottenheimer. I like what he's doing, and I think again, I think he'll finish top 3 Coach of the Year for sure, and maybe just win it if we can win out here. But I believe that he is in the discussion, and I would only take Vrabel over him.
Yeah, so just looking at the odds, the Vegas odds, and this is going into this week, so this does not include the results from today. Vrabel's 1, Ben Johnson's 2, Mike McDaniel's 3. I said Canales. That's the offensive coordinator in the Colts.
Wait,
I
Mike
meant
McDaniel?
Yeah,
Mike McDaniel? I thought it was Mike McDonald.
McDonald. Oh, I'm sorry. It is. I can't read.
Is it Mike McDaniel? Isn't that the Dolphins guy?
Yeah, no.
That guy is never going to be
Yeah.
Coach of the Year.
Yeah, no.
Again,
No, so
I don't know if he won it before, but he shouldn't.
no, I don't think he did. But yeah, it is Mike McDonald. So
Okay.
Vrabel, Johnson, McDonald, Steichen, McVay. Those are the top 5. Schottenheimer's number 6.
And rising.
And rising, and definitely rising. But I will say the guy behind him, Liam Cohen of Jacksonville, is probably also rising. So it'll be interesting.
Wait, you said Dave Canales is the Panthers coach. You said he's offensive coordinator.
No, right. What I was saying was I was thinking about the Colts head coach, not the not the Panthers.
Shane
Steichen, yeah.
Shane Steichen, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about Canales and Carolina.
Yeah, and that's why I said that Schottenheimer's already ahead of him.
100%.
Yeah, I think right now Vrabel. I don't believe in the Bears, and I know I caught heat a little bit on Instagram for this because it's like, yeah, you don't believe in the Bears. You want the Bears to tank so we can get in the playoffs. But I just don't. I'm just not sold. They got a tough schedule. I think they can fall back to earth. So I wouldn't put. I think Ben Johnson's done an amazing job, but
100%.
but I think Vrabel's has a better chance of sticking up there at the top. And the
Mhm.
Bears will probably fall a little bit. So I'd put Vrabel, Schottenheimer, and Johnson right now, with an eye on what's happening with the Colts because they're falling right now. They've lost some couple games in a row now, and people are out on the Colts. But that's Coach of the Year. I got something for you. What about the general manager of the Cowboys being Executive of the
Oh.
Year for the NFL? How do you feel about that? What do you say? What say you, Nick?
Oh
GM Jerry
man.
Jones, Executive of the Year? What do you think?
I so badly just want to laugh at this question, but I'm trying to think about a bad move. Like the one that you can obviously go to, that people are going to go to, is the Micah trade.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think either of us were adamantly opposed to it at the time. The thing looks like it keeps getting better and better. So
Well,
I
we didn't
don't.
think they got enough. We weren't opposed to trading
Right.
Micah, and the
Right.
timing of the trade we did not like. We should have traded him at the draft, got more back for him.
Right. The vitriol in which the media was like, "Oh my God, what are you doing? You can never trade this player. This
Oh,
is
that's
you."
gone now.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like at the
Yeah.
time, that's what we were seeing is you can't possibly do this, and we were saying, "Well, you can possibly just get more,
Yeah.
be better at when you do it." But regardless, we were never totally on board with the this is the most terrible thing you could do, and like you said, the vitriol for it is gone, and there are a lot of people now that are more like, "Hey, this thing just keeps getting better and better."
Yeah, Jerry
Um,
won that trade. That's what you see posted when they got Quinnen Williams.
100%.
So Quinnen and Kenny and a first rounder for Micah. That's basically what you got in some salary cap space, right?
Right.
Um,
Which don't
so
undersell, right? Salary
yeah,
cap space matters a lot with what you've got coming up. And then of course you've got the GP offseason trade, GP3 for a
trade
third
of the
rounder.
year.
It has to be.
Let
It
me tell you
has to
this,
be.
Nick. I saw this and I need to, because you love you some Howie Roseman,
I
right?
do. I do.
He gave a third round pick for Jahad Dotson.
Yeah.
We gave a third round pick and I think a fifth round swap or something
A
for
fifth for sixth or
Pickens.
something. Yeah.
And Jerry has got the better of that. Now this is the same Jerry who gave a fourth for Jonathan Mingo,
That's right.
who
That's
hasn't
right.
seen the field. But that's last year. We're talking
That's
about
last year.
this
That
year.
doesn't count. Yeah. Yeah.
Is he Executive of the Year?
I can't think enough of the other teams that have made moves. I feel like it's way closer that Jerry wins Executive of the Year than Shoddy wins Coach of the Year.
Well, that's another
Um,
move. Schottenheimer as the coach.
Schottenheimer's as a coach is 100% a move. You know what? I'm gonna say, just in the spirit of the moment, yeah. Let's give Jerry the Executive of the Year award.
You don't sound convincing to me that you believe it. So let's look at this. So if you say on the positive side of things, he hired Schottenheimer, who's turned out to be a great hire. Eberflus as a defensive coordinator, which started shaky but is leveling out.
Gotten better, yeah.
He traded a third and a fifth and sixth swap for George Pickens, that's the best trade of the year by far. And he traded Micah Parsons for 2 number ones and turned one of those ones into Quinnen Williams. And he made a trade for Logan Wilson. Let's not forget that. And gave up basically nothing.
Yeah.
For Logan Wilson. So you can make a strong case that he is Executive of the Year. Now, who else could be Executive of the Year? You talk about the Patriots. They didn't really make any strong moves other than hiring their coach. I don't know who else they got. They didn't get anybody at the deadline, did they? They traded.
Yeah, they did. Oh, they got a receiver, didn't they?
Diggs. They signed Diggs in the offseason, right?
Yeah.
And I guess maybe right now you could look at the Jaguars for hiring their coach, getting Jacoby Myers at the trade deadline. Maybe. People are going to say Howie Roseman, but it still remains to be seen. I think it's going to be a tough sell to make Jerry the Executive of the Year, but let's see how this plays out. because you can make
Oh,
a strong case for him to be it. Mainly because there might not be another stronger candidate. Maybe somebody I'm not thinking of right now.
The Colts. The Colts
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
have to be up there, right? Because you've got
No,
the
that's true.
Daniel Jones, Sauce Gardner. Although they gave up a lot for Sauce, that's still going to be looked at
And he's hurt.
favorably.
He got hurt today.
He
So,
get hurt today, so we'll see how that plays out. But I think the Colts executive front office team will probably be pretty high up in this list also.
and it's way too early to be talking about this, but I think Jerry could be in contention. I think it's a long shot for him to win it, guys. So don't say delusional Cowboy fan here. But I think it's fun to talk about because he was getting hammered when he traded Micah. Like oh my goodness. It was like, what are you doing? You don't trade a guy like that in his prime. And Micah's having a great season. No
Mhm,
question about it. Reminds me
mhm.
of rookie year Micah, right? When he was fired up all over the place, versatile
Yep.
and motivated. And I hope he stays that way for Green Bay. But
Yeah.
let one thing go wrong in Green Bay. Let it start falling, and let's see what Micah they get. And I don't wish that on him, but maybe I do.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's going to win Executive of the Year, but I think it's fun to talk about that after the way things have happened.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's look at who are the best teams in the NFL right now. We'll look at the updated playoff picture as we talk about
Yeah.
who do you have as the best teams in the NFC and the AFC. We didn't do this last week. We skipped it. We forgot, or we had such a jam-packed show we left it out.
Yep.
But who do you think is the best teams in the NFL?
Well, record-wise, just to put this out there, you've got the Patriots in the AFC at 10-2, and you've got, surprise, surprise, with tiebreakers, Chicago Bears, number 1 in the NFC,
Mm-hmm.
which is absolutely wild to me. Having said that, I personally wouldn't take either of those teams as the best team in the NFL.
Okay.
To me, the
Well, give me AFC, NFC. Who, just like we
okay,
have been. Who's your
yeah, yeah,
Super
yeah.
Bowl favorites?
So in the AFC, I'm gonna kind of stick with what I've basically been doing this whole time, which is the Buffalo Bills. They're currently 8-4. They have some bad losses, but I feel like basically every NFL team at the end of the season will have one or two bad losses. It's just the way the league goes. So in the AFC, I'll go the Buffalo Bills, and in the
Hmm.
NFC, despite a pretty bad loss today, um, I will go with the Maestros team from last week, and the LA Rams, or I guess 2 weeks ago, LA
So
Rams.
you're going Buffalo, currently in the 7th seed in the AFC.
Yep, yep,
You
that's
believe
right.
in Buffalo.
I do.
They poured it on today
Yep.
in the second half against the Steelers.
Mhm.
And then you got the Rams in the NFC.
That's right.
Okay, and then just throw one more team out there you think is in the mix.
I am very, very interested in the Denver Broncos because Bo Nix is so dynamic, particularly in the fourth quarter, and that defense is so good.
Yeah.
And then I'm a big Sean Payton fan, so if you can give me Sean Payton coaching in close games,
Okay.
I'm very, very interested in the Denver Broncos. I would say I'll go Buffalo and the Rams with an eye on the Broncos.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna start with the NFC because I think it's easier. I think the Rams are the best team, despite the hiccup today at
Hmm.
Carolina. I think that
Yep.
I think the Rams are the best team in NFC. And the AFC is my goodness, who's gonna come out on top? I'm gonna have to go with the Patriots. I was on the Chiefs bandwagon. I was on the Bills bandwagon for a while. I don't. I don't. I think if the Chiefs get in the playoffs, everyone will be scared. But I don't know that they will. Buffalo is. I've. They've. They've gotten too close and come up short too many times. I don't know why they haven't addressed the receiver position. I know they got Brandon Cooks that they signed. I know that they got
Mhm.
Keon Coleman in the draft. He's not really panned out for them. They brought Gabe Davis back. They can't seem to fill that position, and they got tight end hurt now.
Right.
So I'm a little concerned about the offense. James Cook is cooking, for sure.
Mm.
So I think the Patriots, I'll go with them as the best team in the AFC as much as I don't like to.
Yeah.
Broncos, I'm not convinced. I've got to see more consistency from Bo Nix, but I do believe in that Broncos defense. And the Patriots have a pretty good defense too. But I'll go with Rams in the NFC and Patriots in the AFC. And if you want me to pick, you said Broncos as your kind of dark horse. Man, I think I'll probably pick the Seahawks as my dark horse for defensive purposes. They've got a really
Yeah.
good D. But
And a
as I
dynamic
said
playmaker.
before, I don't believe in the Bears yet. Caleb Williams is sporadic. The Eagles are Jekyll and Hyde. You don't know. Of course, I don't believe in the Jaguars. Ravens are Jekyll and Hyde as well. So I'll go with that. I'll go with Rams and Patriots, and I hope that's not the Super Bowl because that would be. I don't even really. I don't even want to tune in for that. I would go Rams all the way. All right, Maestro, who are your teams? Who you got?
Well, people are copying me.
Oh, he says we're copying him. We stole his teams. He's been saying the Rams for weeks. Okay, you were first on the Rams. I think
I
that's
gave
a
him the
little
love.
Devontae Adams bias. Nick gave you a shout out. He said he's going with your team. So you're sticking with the Rams in the NFC. And he's still staying with the Broncos.
Bills last year at the Bills Stadium.
Yeah, he's saying that he believes in the Broncos. He thinks that they had a good showing against the Bills last year's playoff, almost beat them at their place, at the Bills. So he's going with the Broncos. Who do you have as a dark horse?
Well, I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is healthy. I got the Steelers.
He says if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, he has the Steelers, but they did not look so good today, buddy.
Once he went out, that looked painful
he went out
too,
of
man.
the game.
Yeah, they looked real painful.
At some point, Father Time says it's over,
Yeah.
Aaron. That's your dark horse for real?
That's their line.
What? Are you going with them or not? Is that your dark horse?
It depends on Aaron Rodgers.
No. Let's say no, he's not healthy. He's never healthy.
You can't pick a dark horse that's a good team.
Well, you can pick somebody in the 7-6 seed.
No, it has to be a
No, I mean, that's fair. I mean, that's a good
okay.
point.
All right, we'll let him. All right.
Yeah,
Are you just picking that because of Aaron Rodgers?
dark horse.
Mine was the Seahawks, but
They're good.
they're 5th seed.
They're good.
Yeah, okay.
Come on, that's not a dark horse. They were at the top
What?
of the division.
It's somebody in his was
well, see,
he
here's
picked the
here's
Bills
the
as the number 1 seed. Nick has the Bills as his number 1 in the AFC with the Broncos as a dark horse. They're 2.
Yeah, here's the problem. All these teams are separated by 2 games. Like there really aren't any at this point in the season. It's hard to have a dark horse.
Those are dark horse teams.
Okay, he picked the Texans or Steelers. Texans as a dark horse because of their defense is phenomenal, man.
Right.
Okay, I'll let you pick the Texans.
Texans is fine.
All right.
Aaron Rodgers has been hurt. I don't know.
You can pick the Steelers if you want, but
I'll move it to the Texans.
he's moving to the Texans. All right, that's his dark horse. And Nick, he says you can't pick the Broncos as a dark horse at the 2 seed. Come on, man. That's what he said.
Yeah,
He
you
said,
know what?
What are you doing, Nick?
Yeah. No, that's fair. My dark horse is Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys. He just switched. Okay, we'll take that. You better because we should put the mustache bet on the Cowboys making the playoffs.
No.
We should
way.
move that over.
No way.
We should move that over because
No way.
you don't seem as confident in that.
No.
So let's take a little bit of time to talk about the Lions game on Thursday. What do we expect to see here? Let's preview this game a little bit. We looked at the updated playoff picture. The Lions are still ahead of us, right? Right ahead of us. They are currently if the playoff started today, they're out at the 8th seed, firmly behind the 49ers and Packers at this point. Now, the tonight's game is Commanders and Broncos, right?
Broncos.
And Monday's game is Patriots and Giants. So we don't have those 2 results, but previewing the Lions game for the Cowboys, what do you think are the things to look out for, good or bad for the Cowboys in this game?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that we talked about going into the Eagles game and the Chiefs game was the Eagle game was third down conversion. They kept it low where we thought it needed to. Against the Chiefs, we talked about the big plays, and I think that was something that really came to fruition. Although the Chiefs had some chunky plays, technically big plays, 20 and more. Here's what I'll say against the Lions, especially not knowing what Amon Ross status is going to be. He has an ankle sprain. Looks like he's probably not going to go in this game. So I would say this game's gonna be heavy Jahmyr Gibbs focused. If you
Mm-hmm.
can keep Jahmyr Gibbs around 125, 150 all purpose, I think you're not going to stop him. You got to try and contain him though. Um, and you've got to make Goff uncomfortable. Dak has been phenomenal against the blitz this year. Jared Goff has looked really uncomfortable under pressure. So I would say for me, the two keys to this game for Dallas are going to be try to contain Jahmyr Gibbs to some degree. Again, you're not going to stop him. Just keep it reasonable. And then you've got to get some really consistent pressure on Jared Goff in those obvious passing downs.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of similar to what we said for the Chiefs game. It's a
Yeah,
very similar thing. Although we said keep Mahomes in the pocket, we didn't really do that well, but we did it well enough, right?
right.
And the Chiefs running game is not as dynamic as the Lions because don't forget David Montgomery. He usually
Right.
bullies us.
Right.
The difference is the Cowboys are winning the war in the trenches this year now since the
Mhm.
trade, since the transaction, and so I am concerned about Jahmyr Gibbs just because
Mhm.
they have the Thunder and Lightning back, and the Thunder and Lightning teams used to give the Cowboys fits, but with this new Dallas defense, I'm not sure. I think we can contain them, right? Um, they have some offensive line issues. What you said about Jared Goff is exactly where I was going. He is awful under pressure. Now, most quarterbacks are worse under pressure than they are if they got all day to throw. That's common
Right.
sense. But he's really bad against pressure, and he's reverted back to some of his old Jared Goff habits from the Rams. And
Yeah.
so I think I agree with that. It's pressure. I don't fear their defense. Their secondary has been banged up a lot this year.
Yep.
But we got Pickens and we got CD Lamb, and all you CD haters can get off of that because he played well against the Chiefs. Again, it's the drops against the Eagles are anomalies; they're not the norm, and I don't think that they're going to be able to cover us. And I think our offense will be fine. It comes down to the defense. It comes down. I hope Amon St. Amon St. Brown doesn't play
Yep.
for our sake. And again, Jameson Williams can run straight and he can run across the field. That's the only routes he can run. And so, and if we get in his head early, he's going to be nothing. So really, what you
Yeah.
have is a tight end who I think Laporte is out for the year, right?
Yeah. Laporte is out for the year.
So we don't have to worry
Frank.
about him.
Yeah, Ragnoll did not pass his physical. I don't know if I'm saying his last name correctly. That's the All-Pro center that was coming out of retirement.
Well, he wasn't going to
Um,
be ready for this game anyway. Even if he came out of retirement, he
okay.
wasn't going to. Yeah.
Okay. And
So,
then
but
the early report is that Amon-Ra will not play. Expected to miss the Cowboys game is
okay.
what the early report is.
So I believe that it comes down to us stopping the run with them and making Jared Goff beat us. And if we get pressure on him, he won't beat us. If he gets all day to throw back there, he has the potential to beat us. So to me, it comes down to just that. It's how do we get pressure on him? Dak has proven to me that he can handle the pressure, right? He's looked fluid in the pocket. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
worried about our offense. And
No.
if we can score 27, 28 points, we should win.
Yep.
But the question is, again, can we stop the run? That's what I would say. I'm worried about Jahmyr Gibbs, and he's one of the fastest players in the NFL. So I am concerned about him, and I can't forget about David Montgomery and what he's done to us in the past either. So that's the keys of the game: pressure and stop the run.
Yeah, I think just to the point about the running game, going into the Chiefs game, the Cowboys had been since the trade deadline had been giving up 45 yards a game in those two games. They gave up 119 on the ground to the Chiefs. So with that being said, and that's total, that's not to any one running back, and Mahomes hurt us a lot by
Yeah.
way of his legs. So when you just kind of look at statistically speaking, um, of the 119, 30 of that went to Mahomes on 3
Okay.
carries. So I say all that to say, since the trade deadline, Dallas statistically has been one of the best teams against the run in the league, giving up less than 90 yards a game. So I like their chances there. Now, they haven't played a Jahmyr Gibbs or anything even close to it. Saquon is not Saquon,
Right.
of what he has been, and Genti is running behind a terrible O-line.
Right.
Um, so I agree with you completely. You stop the run. I don't think they've seen anything like Gibbs. However, I find myself less concerned about that. I think my biggest concern is that this just turns into a shootout on the road. The Dallas on the road is just not the same as Dallas at home. The over/under for this game is currently set at 55. That is a massive, massive number. That's probably only going to keep getting bigger as the week goes on. So I think my fear is this just turns into a shootout, and then in that case, it's just last team with the ball wins.
Okay. So who you picking?
I like Dallas. I like Dallas, and to be honest, just based on, and I'm trying really, really hard to just be totally analytical here, take my heart out of it, no emotion. We'll get into Nick's picks later, but I never bet with emotion. I just take everything away from it, and I think Dallas big. I think Dallas
Wow.
like 34-17 or 34-20. I think it's a 2-score win.
Interesting. Okay. Well, you would pick Dallas because you have to have them win this game if you have any chance of your Dallas in the playoffs prediction to be right. If they lose this game, it's over, right?
Yeah, I
So
will say I did not think about that. That's a great point. I hadn't thought about that at all. That's a great side reason to have them win. But
yeah.
but yeah.
Um. And to be honest with you, it seems like Detroit is in a little bit of a fall. Dan Campbell calling plays. I don't know if that's working. Their offense is scoring more points, but because Dallas has to win, I'm going to pick them. I don't feel good about it.
You don't sound like you feel good about
I
it.
don't because I want them to win, but my head tells me this is the kind of games that we stub our toes. We're 3 in a row, and in the past we haven't been able to handle success. And on the road, after a holiday, good news is we usually get 10 days to rest. Now we only got 7, so
Yeah.
that may factor in here. So I'm going to pick Dallas, but I don't love it. And it's only because it's Sunday and the game's Thursday that I'm picking
Yeah.
Dallas, and I'm gonna say something around 30 to 24, something like that.
Okay.
Not dissimilar to the Chiefs game, but if they win, it's gonna be maybe they're up 2 scores and the Lions score late to make it close. Something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't feel good about it. I want to feel great about it, but I can't. So that's my prediction: 30 to 24. Cowboys win, and playoff mania begins
Yep.
here in Dallas, and the real hype will begin for the national media. Now you mentioned Nick's picks,
Yeah.
so let's get into that. Maestro, please hit the music for Nick's picks. All right, Nick, how'd you do?
So we went 2-2 this week. 2-2,
All
but with
Thanksgiving special. All Thanksgiving.
the all Thanksgiving Day special went 2-2. But I will say, just like every other week, and I went back and looked at this. Every week I've gone 2-2. I've hit the upset special. So because I'm hitting the upset special, I'm actually positive on these weeks.
What
So
do you
that
mean
brings
positive? Tell me positive. What does that mean? Because this is for entertainment purposes only. What do you
our
mean you're actually positive?
so my moral bank that I'm judging this
Oh,
based off of has a surplus because one of the picks was an underdog pick.
okay. That's
Yeah.
technicality. Now you're kind of padding your stats. Well, technically we won. No, you didn't win.
Well, the moral bank has more in it than when I started, so that's what I'm going based off of.
Okay.
That's all I care
All right.
about. So that brings us up to a total of 22-10 since we started doing this.
Wow.
Feel really, really strong about it. And just in case those are wondering, we had the Packers beating the Lions. Although as a Cowboys fan, we wanted the Lions to win that game. So it's kind of a win-win, lose-lose situation for me. The moral bank was happy about the result. The Cowboys fan was upset about the result. We had the under in the Cowboys Chiefs game, which really was never in doubt at a certain point. Look, like that was always going to get caught. We did take Dallas plus 3.5. Obviously, they won the game, so that's an easy one. And then the really weird one for me was the Bengals and the Ravens. The Bengals defense has been just the only defense worse in the league than the Cowboys defense had been the Bengals defense. And somehow they stopped Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry and hold them to 13 points on an over-under that looked like it should have been a cakewalk. So
It's Joe Burrow,
really
baby.
weird. Yeah, and the I hate Joe Flacco thing just
defense believes.
Yeah, I guess the Flacco.
Maybe the defense hated Joe Flacco. Now they love
exactly.
Joe Burrow.
You see what I'm saying, man? Flacco, it's killing me. But so 2-2 last week. We moved to 22-10 on the season, and we've got the 4 coming up for next week.
Okay.
So here we go. We got the upset special. This is, remember, albeit for fun, we still pick with our mind, not our heart. But the upset special I like is the Dallas Cowboys over the Detroit Lions.
Oh, wow.
And a pretty good little upset too. Plus 149 is not, they're a 3-point dog. So
what does that mean? So if I put 20 moral coins on the line, what do I win?
Yeah, so we deal in positive numbers. So if you were to do 100 moral coins, you get 149 moral coins.
Oh, wow.
So $1 bet is $1.49 moral dollars, speaking of course. So this is a pretty good little healthy upset special. So Dallas plus 149. The Jacksonville Jaguars are getting absolutely no love. Jacksonville is a plus 1.5 point underdog at home to the Colts. So they are a home dog to the Indianapolis Colts.
All right.
So I'm going to take the 1.5. I think Jacksonville just wins the game outright, but we'll take the 1.5 Jags over the Colts. The Philadelphia Eagles, with what looks like to be at the very least a banged up Justin Herbert, probably not even going to play if he's having surgery on a broken hand, are only a 3-point favorite against the Chargers on Monday Night Football.
At LA, right?
At LA, that's right.
Okay.
But, the thing about at LA, and this is something I wanted to mention, is it's like a 50-50 crowd 80% of the time. Their home games are not
lots of transplants in LA.
Lots of transplants. Most
of them are moving out of LA right now, though. So everybody's fleeing LA. Everybody leaves California.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's so weird for it to, yes, it's technically, it's at SoFi, but it's a neutral game. It's a neutral site game. So, Philly -3 against the Chargers, who will have at the very least a banged up Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, but he's probably not even going to play. And then last but certainly not least, Chicago Bears versus the Green Bay Packers. The Bears are a 5.5 point underdog at the Green Bay Packers. Ben Johnson has, as an offensive coordinator, had a phenomenal track record against the Green Bay Packers. Does really, really well against Matt LaFleur. I like Chicago to cover the 5.5.
Yeah, I think only one that I would be in question on would be the Colts and Jaguars. I don't know that the Jaguars are for real. Colts are in a little bit of a slide. They have to win this game. The Colts have to win this game. I mean, this is who they're tied with at the top of the division, right? So they have to win this game. So I'm gonna trust in the Colts. And maybe a little Manning magic comes back for them. Maybe he talks to Daniel Jones this week and gives him the keys to success. So that's the only one I have a contention with you on Nick's picks this week. But you know what? I'm going to start having to wager some moral coins on these games because 22-10 is pretty healthy. And that's a good sample size. So great job, Nick.
Yeah, appreciate that, man. Yeah, you definitely need to get some moral investments going on in these picks.
All right. Well, that's Nick's picks for the week. All right. Now look, we've been promising to talk a little college football playoffs.
Oh yeah, here we go.
So if you, Nick, you can pull up the current
Got it.
rankings. Did they come out
So
tonight
the AP
already?
came out today. The
Okay,
actual CFP comes out on Tuesday,
that's right. Tuesdays.
and then
Yeah.
next Sunday will be the final
Okay.
CFP ranking.
All right. So look, now we've talked about our allegiances. Nick, for some reason unknowns to us, I think it was uniforms only.
That's right.
Is allegiances with the Oregon Ducks,
That's right.
right? My team, I'm born in Indiana, moved to Texas when I was 5, has always been the Indiana Hoosiers for men's basketball,
Mm.
and I've rooted for the football team for years. We've been irrelevant for years, but for the last couple years, we've been relevant, right? And in the past, once every 5 years, we might be good, right? Get to a bowl game. But
Yep.
now we're relevant. Signetti's got us
Signetti.
cooking,
Yeah.
baby. We
Mm-hmm.
believe in Signetti, and man, he's fiery, and I like him as a coach. So
Yep.
Indiana is my football team. I don't have any other allegiances in college football. So let's go through the current playoff teams, and let's just talk about what we think about these teams.
Yeah. So I think if we just kind of go with the consensus, right? AP top 4, essentially a lock across most people. We're going to agree here. Ohio State 1, Indiana 2. No question there. No one's going to question that. That is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia 3, again, pretty much a lock. The only place where you might start to get a little conversation is around the AP has Oregon at 4 and Texas Tech at 5. I can
Mm-hmm.
see where that might be flopped. I can see where some people, might like Texas Tech in front of Oregon. And I don't think you would be terribly off kilter for that. Texas A&M loses to Texas; they drop to 7. Ole Miss loses Lane Kiffin to LSU. They're number 6,
And he's not going to coach them in the
and
college football playoff.
and if he did an interview today where he basically said he was asked not to attend the meeting, and the decision for him not to coach was strictly up to the athletic director. He was apparently willing to coach. He wanted to coach the playoff run,
He
and he
sounds
was told
hurt.
no.
He sounds like he's very mad, and it's and out of spite and resentment that he's not letting him coach the college football playoff. I don't blame him, honestly. It's kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. Now North Texas, their coach is getting the job at Oklahoma State, but he's going to coach out the playoffs if they make it, right? Or
Yeah,
he's going to
well,
coach through the bowl season.
the
Yeah.
bowl game, right? Yeah, I don't think there's any chance they make the playoff, but they definitely are in. They're 11-1. They're going to be in the bowl game. He'll get to coach the bowl game. And here's the thing I'll say
Yeah, that's
for
what I meant. There's no way they're making the playoffs, but the bowl
yeah,
game, yeah.
right. I think with Kiffin, I agree. I understand the hurt. I understand why you wouldn't want him to coach, but I will say it feels like you're doing a disservice to that team
Yeah.
that has had the best season in school history. They are not only going to get to make the playoffs, they're going to host a playoff game. They're going to be, seeded 5 through 8, almost without a doubt. So not only do you get to make the playoffs, but you get to host a playoff game, and you just lost your head coach. So I don't love that. I understand. Like I said, I agree with you. I understand where they're coming from. As you kind of round out the top 12 here, you've got Oklahoma at 8, Notre Dame 9, Bama 10, BYU 11, and Miami 12. The interesting thing about those bottom 4 teams is the 5th conference champion, the highest ranked 5th conference champion, must get in. At the moment, that's expected to be Tulane.
Mm-hmm.
So although Miami and BYU, Vanderbilt, Texas are all kind of on this bubble, you really have this 5th conference champion that has to get in. So that makes it a little interesting. Again, right now it looks like that's going to be Tulane.
So let's remind everybody who may not follow the college football playoff and the format. The top 4 teams have a bye. Is that right?
The top 4 teams have a bye.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike last year, the top 4 teams were the highest 4 ranked conference champions. So
Right.
you must have won the conference championship to get a bye last year. Okay. This year, it does not matter. If you are one of the top 4 ranked teams, you get a bye, meaning Notre Dame now would theoretically have a shot at it. They won't get it, but they have a shot at it.
And the top 4 teams are Ohio State, Indiana,
Georgia and Oregon.
Georgia and Oregon.
Right. Now, the really interesting thing there is Oregon isn't going to play for the Big Ten championship.
Right.
So the conversation then is going to naturally become, you're going to have a one-loss Big Ten championship loser against a one-loss Oregon team that didn't play in the Big Ten championship. Which team deserves to be higher ranked?
Well, Indiana beat Oregon already.
Oh no, I'm aware.
So who's playing? It's Ohio State
And Indiana,
and Indiana in the Big Ten championship game.
right?
And this is Indiana's chance to prove to everybody they're for real. Nobody
Right.
believes in them like what happened last year to them, right?
Right.
So this year, this is a great game to prove it, right? If Indiana wins, they're the top seed.
No question.
If Ohio State wins, they're the top seed.
No question. The Big Ten game is essentially the de facto number 1 seed game.
Right. So what happens to the loser of that game?
As much as people hate this, and I understand why people hate it, it's the manner in which whichever team loses. If Ohio State beats Indiana by like 30 points and it never looks close, Indiana's going to drop below Oregon, which I know is going to drive people nuts.
Doesn't make sense, right? Because we beat Oregon. Indiana did.
Right. But if Indiana gets blown out, there's no way that they stay above Oregon. Now, if Indiana loses close, or if I think no matter what Ohio State does, they're going to be a top 4 team. They could even get blown out and probably still be a top 4 team.
Okay.
But to me, if Indiana loses close or wins, certainly they're going to be a bye seed. They're going to get one of the byes. If they get blown out, to me, they drop, maybe not fairly, but they drop below Oregon.
Okay, so you put him, what, 5, 6?
Probably 5.
Okay. So do you think Indiana's going to beat Ohio State?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
And that game is where?
It's
Lucas Oil,
where's
right?
that? Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, so a little bit of home field advantage for us, right, at Indiana?
For sure. It's closer than Ohio State.
So maybe, oh man, it would be unbelievable. Now, I would hate that we beat Ohio State and then lose in the college football playoff, but at least that would kind of cement, hey, Indiana's for real going into the playoffs, so people would take Indiana seriously. So, and Georgia has to play in the SEC
Bama.
championship game. They have to play Bama, right?
That's right.
And so that will be interesting. If Georgia loses and Bama wins, what happens?
So if Georgia loses, and again, the manner in which they lose is going to matter. But if Georgia loses and Bama wins, I think it's so weird because if you get a close Big Ten title game and Bama beats Georgia, then I think there's a very real possibility that you see Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon as 3 of the 4 teams.
Oh boy,
with the bye coming out of the Big Ten.
My friend Scott Thrasher, who's a big Alabama fan. What up, Scott? I hope you listen because I don't think you have listened to this point. He loves the SEC and believes they're the football conference. That would drive him crazy to have 3 Big Ten teams in the top 4 seeds. So if Georgia wins or loses, Georgia loses, where does Bama go?
So if Georgia's in no matter what, that Georgia's not going to lose. I think you probably have to bring Bama just above Georgia. Now, again, the other results have to matter here. If Texas Tech loses, that will play a kind of a big factor here in the Big 12 title game. But let's
who's this Texas Tech playing? BYU?
Texas. Yeah.
BYU.
I would. Okay. Yeah, it's got to be BYU. So, that's essentially, it's hard to say for certain, but that essentially becomes a pseudo playoff game in and of itself.
Yep.
Again, it depends on the other results, but if Texas Tech loses, BYU's only got 1 loss, it'll be really interesting. But to your original question, if Bama beats Georgia, I think Bama comes up to probably 5. I can't see them getting into the bye with 2 losses when all those teams are only gonna have 1. Um, so I would say 5 or 6 for Bama, and Georgia probably drops to 7 or 8. Um, it's hard to see a 2-loss Georgia team not being the best 2-loss team on the
Right.
field. So I would say Bama goes up to 5 or 6, and Georgia drops to 7 or 8. Um, if Bama beats Georgia. Now, if Georgia beats Bama, I think Bama falls out altogether. I think Bama has to win this game in order to make the playoff. Um, and in that case, then you open up some possibilities for some of those bubble teams to maybe have a conversation. You can maybe look at Texas, who I don't think will get there. You can look at Vanderbilt, depending on the ACC championship game. Miami could potentially also be a team if they lose that could potentially, depending on who loses the ACC championship game, that Miami could potentially get in. The ACC championship game is Virginia and Duke.
Yeah, and here's the age-old argument for these conference championship games is if I make a conference championship game and lose, how could I be penalized more than a team that doesn't make the conference championship game at all? Do you understand what I'm saying? And
100%, yeah.
that's been the argument in college football and why people think it's goofy. Now look, college football as we know and love it is gone. This is a business. This is basically professional football
Yep.
with different brands behind it. It's the college is the team. That's the brand. But this is a business now. And the UIL has changed it dramatically.
Yep.
And as we've seen at Texas Tech has some big money backers that are buying talent left and right, and it's paid off for them. Other teams aren't good at this UIL stuff. Alabama is a little late to the party. NIL. What did I say? Oh, it's NIL.
Yeah.
UIL would throw them all out. But anyway, the NIL is a problem because Alabama thought we're still Alabama. People will want to come here, and what they found out was people go where the money takes them.
That's right. That's right.
And the transfer portal and the NIL has, I mean, look, it's built Indiana's program. We're having Signetti come there and just raid the transfer portal, and now our basketball team is doing the same thing with the new coach. But the question is, if I'm in a conference championship game and I lose, I should not fall behind those that did not make the conference championship game. Do you agree with that?
It's a fascinating conversation. Generally speaking, yes, I agree, but I also think it's the only sport where the result matters. How you lose these games matter. The ACC championship game is fascinating to me. You've
Wait a
got
minute.
Virginia, who's
It's not
Virginia's
the only. Hold on. It's not the only sport where the result matters. All sports, the result matters. You're talking about
I mean,
the way
correct,
the result happens.
correct.
Okay.
The manner in which the result happens doesn't matter in the NCAA tournament if you win by 40 or if you win by 20, right? You just play the next team. If you win your tournament, it doesn't matter how much you won by. Maybe it changes the seeding a little bit, but it's not going to make that much of a difference. So yes, I'll clarify the way in which the result is obtained. So the ACC, for example, Virginia's tendency, they've had a good season, right? I think everyone expects Virginia to win that game against Duke. No issue. Duke, on the other hand, has a 7-5 season going. But because they're 6-2 in conference, they get to play for the ACC championship. If Duke wins that game, they're going to get into the playoff. And then you have a 8-5 Duke team, playing against, Oklahoma or Notre Dame, something like that. Generally speaking, my rule of thumb is I always want chaos. When it comes to the college football, I always want just the most chaotic results we can possibly have. So I will be pulling hard for Duke against Virginia.
Okay. So I'm trying to pull up the bracket here. Why am I having a hard time doing this? This should be real simple. College football playoff bracket. I don't need one from 2 years ago. Let me see. Okay. So, no, this isn't current either. Yeah, because A&M is going to fall out after their loss from Texas.
Right.
Where's the updated one? Let me see here. Do you have it?
Well, remember there probably
most
won't be
updated
an
one.
yeah, the most updated one's probably going to have A&M at 3
Okay.
because
All right.
the CFP isn't out until Tuesday, and they don't update it based on AP polls.
No, I got that. I just want to see the bracket.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening here. I got all these things firing off on my YouTube here. Like someone's taking over my iPad here. I'm just looking for the most recent one. That's all. That's all I want. Is the most recent bracket. Okay, this one says November 25th.
That's it. That's the most recent one.
Okay. All right. So no, that's not. This isn't right. This isn't right. This has this A&M is at 3. Was they at 3 on the
That's right.
last?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So if I look at this, and the people that are in the top 12 here that are playing in championship games.
Yep.
It's Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia, Alabama, Texas Tech.
Yep. Tulane.
And Tulane. So Oregon, Miami, OU, and Ole Miss aren't in those games.
And Notre Dame, correct.
Well, of course, Notre Dame. So if any of these people in the championship games that are like Georgia and Indiana and Ohio State, if they lose, they should not fall past number 5.
Georgia, Indiana, and Ohio State will likely not drop past 5 if they lose. That is accurate.
Okay.
Now, if Indiana gets blown out, they could.
Well, Georgia's in the 4. So if they lose to Bama, who's currently 10?
I think they will drop out of it. So when I say Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia will absolutely fall out of the top 5 if they lose to Bama.
Okay, that was my question. Now,
yeah.
Ole Miss. This is where I have not been. Listen, I'm gonna be honest. I haven't been following college football other than Indiana. Like I've been all over Indiana, so I don't know if Ole Miss has played in Alabama this year or Georgia.
They have
the way the SEC is now. There's like 85 teams in the SEC, and it's like everybody's ran to the SEC. So I don't even know, who's on each side. In the
Ole Miss
SEC.
lost to Georgia. They did not play Bama, and they beat Oklahoma.
Yeah, I didn't think that they played Bama. Okay, so they lost to Georgia, and Bama beat Georgia, right?
Correct.
Okay, so you got all kinds of mess there. I don't think Oklahoma. I'm not a fan of Oklahoma, so I'm not worried about them. But what I am worried about is Alabama. Obviously, if they lose, they're out of the playoffs.
100%. Almost no question.
Okay? So, and we have to have Tulane in. Honestly, that's what makes this thing kind of hokey, is that Tulane gets in if they're if they win their conference championship game.
Well, we said earlier that there was no shot North Texas makes the playoff. We lied, because Tulane's playing North Texas in that conference championship game in the American Conference. The winner of Tulane, North Texas.
Yeah. But I deferred to you as my college football expert here, and you led me astray.
Well, North Texas for years and years was not in the American. So the conference realignment thing is really throwing me off here. Everyone's moved everywhere.
This is why we haven't talked college football all year, because I'm not an expert on it, and
I don't know how.
Only follow Indiana in college football, and I'd keep up with Alabama for my friend's sake, but I'm a college basketball guy, and we can get into that in detail. But for this argument here, for this whole thing, I have a problem. This is the only thing I'll say is anybody in a conference championship game losing and going behind anybody in their conference that didn't make the conference championship game.
And I think, generally speaking, there's a lot that carries a lot of weight. I think that makes a lot of sense. Like Bama falling out of the playoff for having had to play another game when Oklahoma and, I don't think there's another 2-loss team that's going to be there. But the point is valid, right? Like Alabama's going to be punished for playing in one more game and potentially losing it than Oklahoma, who has 2 losses now. Like if Bama just doesn't play this game, if they just say, we don't want to play it.
Yeah.
now I can't fall behind Oklahoma anymore.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
Do you think they'll
I get it.
change conference
I
championship games? Do you think they're
well,
going to change it?
there's what I've heard is that SEC is going to 9 conference games now. Right now, they only play 8, and so that should theoretically kind of sift this out a little bit more throughout the season. Um, but no, I don't think they're going to change conference championship games. I don't know how they could, other than to just not have them. Like if one of these conferences just says,
Yeah.
"Look, we're playing 9 conference games. The winners decided throughout the year anyway. We're
Oh,
not
it
even going to
makes
play
too
the
much
conference
money to
championship."
cancel. Yeah, it
Oh,
makes too much money
yeah,
to cancel.
yeah.
Yeah. I
But look,
think
your point's
what
really
I'm saying
valid.
is what I'm saying is do they weight it less, the conference championship game? Do they do it like it's okay, this is not even, going to count as much against you if you lose?
Yeah, I think that would be the one place where could have a lot of impact that people, but then you run into the problem of, do you start sitting guys and do you start treating it as a de facto kind of exhibition game where now if guys are even remotely hurt, if you're not going to punish me for it, then I'm just not going to, I'll use it as a week to rest. And I've heard that argument before of like, if you try to make it weight less, then now you just don't take it as
Yeah.
seriously if you're those teams. So I don't think they can do that. I like the idea, but I also think the overall point is valid. If Alabama loses this and falls out of the playoff, which I think will happen, then you have an Oklahoma team who Bama beat just a few weeks ago, making the playoff, and Bama not getting in.
Yeah, it doesn't make
Doesn't make a
sense.
lot of sense. Doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense.
So we,
So,
we wanted this college football extension, this playoff extension, to get rid of some of these arguments, but it looks like it's just going to create more of these arguments. And that's good for the sport. But I guess this is a big week, right? A big next couple
oh yeah,
weeks. Is it? Are
yeah.
all of them this weekend?
All of them are this weekend. You got the big ones will be Tulane in North Texas on Friday night at 8 p.m. And then you've got Saturday is basically just stacked one after another. The Big 12 game, BYU Texas, is at 12. Georgia and Bama are at 4. And then you have the ACC and Big 10 both at 8 p.m. Virginia and Duke and Ohio State and Indiana. So obviously Ohio State and Indiana, you save prime time for last. So Saturday night at
That's
8
right.
p.m. is the heavyweight showdown, man.
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna hope for. Because you dissed North Texas so badly and shunned me when I said they make the playoff. Um, I hope they win against Tulane and get into this college football playoff just for Nick. I want Bama to cause chaos and beat Georgia.
Yep.
Obviously, I want Indiana to beat Ohio State for the first time in my life, probably when it matters. So, and then I want chaos on this
Yeah.
thing. I want chaos for this college football playoff, and here's why. I want college football to be what it's supposed to be. I don't want. I mean, I'm all for people making money, but man, it's like it's a professional sport now. There
Yeah.
are people opting to stay in school for the money they get instead of coming out to the NFL and getting less money as rookies. That's
100%.
literally a thing. So
Yeah.
at what point does college football become a competitor to the NFL?
I don't think you're super far away from that. I think the most watched college games of the week certainly outdraw the least watched NFL games of the week. And I don't think that's particularly close. I would have to get the data to support that. Can it ever actually compete? Probably not. Like on a grand scale, the college football championship last year. I'm just looking it up real quick. I would imagine didn't even get close to 100 million viewers. Um, let's see. Last year, college football championship had 21 million viewers.
Yeah, because it doesn't draw in the casual viewer. You have to
Right.
be fans of the teams. Like me, college football is great to a lot of people who have allegiance and a passion and an attachment to a school. But if you're like me and you don't really have an attachment to a school, it's hard to get really fired up about it. It's cool. I mean, I love football. I love watching football, but I don't,
Yeah.
as you can see from this segment, I don't dive into it and know it in and
Right.
out. Now, when I was a kid, yes, but man, it's changed so much. It's just too hard to keep up with. So
Yeah.
they don't get the casual fan. They don't get the the Super Bowl and the NFL draws casual fans in, and that's the difference. And I think that's a lot of college football talk for the first time. And as you see in
Yeah.
this segment, why we haven't really done it. I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be, and Nick is more of an expert than I am. But we will introduce this into the show, and I am rooting for chaos next week. So that's college football talk. Now, really quickly, let's talk about what's killing Jeff. Maestro. Okay. As you know, I'm a huge Mavericks fan, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
Mavs got off to a really rough start. Right? AD's hurt. We're 6-15. But we got to look a little deeper here. And this is where people just, oh, the Mavericks suck. Oh, free fall. Oh, fire Nico. We fired Nico. That should have happened. Oh, bring Luca back. Bring Luca back. Luca's not coming back, guys. We know that, right? He's not coming back. It's going to be a few years before he's a free agent. And at that point, we'll see, right? So if you look deeper into this 6-15 record for the Mavericks, they've lost 6 or 7 games by very slim margin. They've been in the most clutch games, I believe, of anybody in the league, with 16 of their 21 games have been clutch games. Now, if you don't know what clutch game means, maybe Nick can fill us in, because I don't really know what a clutch game means. It's just been close in the last few minutes of the game, right? And there's some other factors that factor into that. But I cannot stand all the hate that the Mavericks are getting for their start. It's kind of like we talked about with the Chiefs last year in one score games dominating, and this year they're struggling. That doesn't mean there's such a what are you banging on over there? Your typing is really loud.
Final 5 minutes.
My bad.
So a clutch game is what, Luke?
Final 5 minutes of the game
If the final 5 minutes, the game is
within 5
within 5 points or less.
At
And
any
so
point in the 5
At
minutes.
any point in those last 5 minutes, the game is within 5 points or less. And the Mavericks have 16 of those this year.
Yeah.
And if you look at their record in those 16, do we have that? What their record is? I guess I should have prepared better for what's killing me, if it's really killing me, right? But the truth is, what's killing me is just this version of the truth that's skewed, that the Mavericks suck. Guys, they don't suck. They are better than we think. And this has all happened with the maturation of Cooper Flagg. In his last 10 games, he's averaging 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists. So we see him improving. We see them, playing D'Lo less, D'Angelo Russell less, and Nembhard's playing more, and we're getting a little bit more cohesiveness out of our offense. Our defense is one of the top 3 in the league. That's never been an issue. And I don't think I could ever say that about any Mavericks team ever on the defensive side of the ball. But what's the record in clutch games?
5-11.
We're 5-11 in those games. And in 6 of those games, I think, have been 3 or 5 points or less losses, right? And so the point is, they are battling in these games, and they're playing close games. They're just not good enough and haven't learned how to win yet. But they don't suck. They're far from sucking. Again, their record says they're like eighth closest to the bottom. It's the and I get that, but I just, everybody just burying the Mavericks, and everybody just saying, and even me talking about, we got to get a point guard in here. We got to get somebody before Kyrie gets back. Well, we're getting closer and closer to Kyrie coming back. AD is now healthy again, and I think Cooper is maturing, and for me, I think the future looks much brighter than the gloom and doom that people are painting for the Mavericks. And that's really what's killing me. I mean, the Cowboys sell us hope every week and every year. and the Mavericks, I get the Luka trade. It's over. But the mourning and the grieving period is done. This is a new day, Maverick fans. And it's killing me that you don't realize that. And I know this team isn't what it's going to look like for the next 3 years yet. But we have some foundational pieces here. I know that Kyrie has begged to stay. He wants to be here. That's what I've heard, right? They don't want to trade him. AD, different story. I don't know the story there. But I'm encouraged by what I'm seeing. Klay Thompson went off last night. That was great in the fourth quarter. He still has something left in the tank, but I would be okay with trading him. I just want you to see it's not as dark as you think it is, Mavericks fans. And what's killing me is that people have buried this team, and they are not dead yet. What say you, Nick?
I just want to sit in this for a second because you're so wrong here. Because they
What do
are.
you mean?
The
They are
reality
losing
is
close games.
No. When I say you're wrong is they are dead. Their roster is currently constructed as dead. They don't have a chance of being competitive with this roster. It's going to take
They're being
when this team
competitive
is
now.
They're not winning games.
What do you mean they have a chance to be competitive? Dude.
They're not winning games.
What's that? Yes, right. They've been missing their most clutch player, which is AD, right? And Kyrie. Kyrie is their most clutch player. AD is not what you say clutch, but hey, he looks slimmer now after the few weeks he's had off. But they are competitive. You can't say they're not competitive. That's just not true.
Here's why I say that. Defensively, they are phenomenal. They're the 5th ranked defensive efficiency team in the league. This team was built around Luka to kind of cover up his deficiency as a defensive player. And Nico, right, for whatever you want to say, he did that very, very well, clearly, because they are still an elite defensive team. That is without question. Nobody can argue that.
Never have been. They are this year.
Right. And so the idea of let's construct this great defensive team around Luka makes a lot of sense.
No, he traded Luka to get better defensively.
Right. But when he was already really good defensively. Now, not saying they would have been this good. Obviously, with Luka, they probably definitely wouldn't have been.
No, they would not have been.
But the problem is how bad they are offensively. They are dead last offensive efficiency.
Agree.
I don't think, as good as Kyrie is, I don't think he's going to move that number that much. Now, if AD
Quinnen Williams is rolling around in my head. You said the same thing about Quinnen Williams and Logan Wilson.
It's a little different.
And they're not as good as Kyrie.
That's fair, but they're also, they've increased the defense so that the defense is a middle of the pack. If Kyrie comes back and makes this offense 10 spots better, they're still a bottom third offense. Like
That's
Kyrie
great.
can,
but how many of those wins or those losses become wins? Because Kyrie is one of the most clutch players ever in the history of the NBA. Big game shots down the stretch, he's one of them. So how much easier will Cooper Flagg's shots get with AD and Kyrie playing if AD's still here?
Right.
The point I'm trying to make is they're not dead yet. They might look worse as far as their record than they actually are, which is the point. They have been competitive. And to everyone's surprise, they're rising from the ashes. Cooper Flagg's development is coming faster than you want to admit. And in 30 days, he's going to be unbelievable. He's the youngest player ever to score 35 points. And he's starting to shoot more, find rhythm. And like I said, in his last 10 games, he's averaging 20 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists. That's his last 10 games. And I think that will continue to build. The issue is giving minutes to people like D'Lo and possibly even Klay, as much as he helped us in the fourth quarter last night. Those are the pieces we've got to move out of here so that the young guys, Christie and Cooper, can take those shots, right? And I'm just telling you, Mr. Spurs, smirky, smiley, happy guy, that they aren't dead yet. And as much as you want them to be dead, it's like the Undertaker rising from the grave, man. You want to put dirt on them, but you just can't do it yet.
Okay, I'm just curious if you put your money where your mouth is. What is not, and not literally, I'm not talking about another bet here, but just what does not dead yet mean? Does that mean they can get back to 500? Is it like what do you mean by that?
Yeah, that's what they're 9 games under 500 right now. And we just talked about how many clutch games they've been in. 16. That means they've been in every game that they've played, just about, but maybe 3 or 4. Okay.
Right.
So that means we're competitive. As crappy as you think we are, we've been in every game this year. You can't deny that.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Okay.
And if we get any improvement at all on our offense, we will win. We should have 6 more wins right now. So we should be 12-9 right now, Nick.
So right now they're 2.5 games out of the 10 seed, which would be a play-in. You're saying that you think they'll get to the play-in?
Yes, I do. I think they will if unless they decide to blow it up, because this is what I'm talking about. You see, Mavericks are 6-15. Oh, they suck. They smell like crap. They're done. They're finished. Let's trade everybody. Fire. I get it, but the point is, they're not dead, and I am rooting hard for this team to come together. I loved what I'm seeing from Cooper Flagg. I was a little pessimistic with the way Kidd was treating him early on, but it's the Giannis treatment. When he had Giannis as a rookie, I told you, this is what's happening. And 30 days from now, it's going to be even better. I just don't know if the pieces around him will gel together. One night is PJ, one night is Najee, one night is Clay, one night is Christie. That's okay, but we need one other person to rise up and be consistent. Can it be AD? I hope so. Will Kyrie be back in January? That's only 30 days away. Maybe, just maybe, we can get into that play-in. Now, you would agree, if the Mavericks make the play-in, that would be unbelievable.
Yeah, because I don't think there's any chance they make the play-in.
Okay. So all I want you to do is remember November 30th at, oh my gosh, it's 8:45 p.m. What's killing Jeff is the disrespect and the dirt being thrown on the Mavericks' head when it's still a lot of season to go. That's what's killing Jeff. And people like Nick, who just want to bury him. I know why he wants to bury him. He doesn't want to grow a bushy mustache, and I think you're well clear of that.
Yeah, I'm safe in that. I'm safe.
But don't let the dead bury the dead, and we're not dead. That's what I'll say. And that, my friends, is what's killing Jeff this week. Wow, what a show, man. We covered a lot of things, and it was jam-packed, but it's time to go, man. I don't know how long we've been doing this, Maestro. Do you have the time? This show has been 2 hours? Oh, boy. Well, I hope you enjoyed it out there.
Someone could have told you that earlier.
It's jam-packed with stuff. We didn't get to everything. Like, we want to talk about the Wings getting the number 1 pick, right? And how unfortunate it is that Juju Watkins is hurt and won't be coming out this year. Or will she? I don't know. It's probably going to be Fudd from Connecticut who gets paired with Paige, and that would be awesome. We want to talk about the Rangers trading Marcus Semien for Nimmo from the Mets, and how I agree with the trade. I don't know how Nick feels about it, but I think we got better. He's a little younger. He's an outfielder. Semien has been a great leader, a great defensive player. His bat has slipped lately. We wanted to talk about that. We wanted to talk about many, many other things, but we ran out of time. So thank you for staying with us this long. I hope everyone had a great and happy Thanksgiving. Now the rush to Christmas is on, and we can't wait. We're probably going to be live streaming or doing a post-game show for the Lions game on Thursday, Lions and Cowboys game on Thursday, and we're excited about that. I hope you join us there, but thank you for being a part of this one. Until next time, peace.